Okay, good afternoon. My name is Rupa, working as assistant professor in Chevrolet Engineering College. I'm dealing the subject Power Electronic Controllers and Drives for third year triple JNTU Kakinada. And today's topic is steady state stability load equalizations. In previous classes, we have seen that if you subtract this 10 equation and 11 equation into 9 equation by rearranging the terms, we see that dynamic torque J into d delta omega m by dt plus change in motor torque and load torque, that is dTL by d omega m minus dt by d omega m delta omega m is 0. So this is the above is the first order linear differential equation. Okay, so if t is equal to 0 and delta omega m is equal to 0, then the equation 12 will be equal to delta omega m is equal to delta omega m tends to 0 exponential of, this is the first order, this 12th equation is the first order linear differential equation. We are derivating it with speed t is equal to 0 at t is equal to 0. So minus 1 by j dtl, this becomes, this term will be as usual. Okay, so an operating point here, operating point means before we saw that operating points of A, B, C, D. Okay, so in A and C we are getting stable. So for an operating point of stable, when omega m, this delta omega m is equal to 0 and t tends to infinity. So for this to happen in the equation 13, this term in the bracket, this exponential term in the bracket should be equal to negative term. Okay, so this yields the inequality of equation 6. This is the equation 6 inequality. See here, this is inequality of equation 6. That means if it is minus as shown in the equation, if it is minus, this does not satisfy this one. That is dTL by d omega m is no longer greater than dt by d omega m, right? Okay, this is steady state stability. And now the next topic is load equalizations. Okay, so the name itself indicates that we are controlling the load to be equalized, means without any fluctuations you are controlling the load. Okay, so this means that in some, suppose if you take some drives, in some applications load torque will be fluctuating. Okay, so this load torque will be fluctuating within short intervals of time. If you take a short interval of time, the load torque will be fluctuating rapidly. Suppose if you take a example pressing machine, if you take, for pressing some apparatus, we have to need large torque in short durations. Okay, so while pressing operation, the torque should be equal to the starting torque will be equal to high value. Okay, so here we need a large amount of torque in short times. So examples, other examples we can take as, suppose if you take electric hammer or steel rolling mills, and if you take any reciprocating pumps. So in this, for that motor, if torque is maximum, then the rating of the motor should be, if the torque is maximum means the rating of the motor will be high. Or suppose, what is the second thing? Motor draws pulse current from the supply. Okay, a large amount of pulse current is drawn from the supply into the motor. Okay, so this amplitude of phase current from the supply, it gives rise to voltage fluctuations. Okay, so while the motor is drawing large currents in a pulse means at a time, in a short duration it is drawing large amounts of current. So this is termed as there is an amplitude of pulse current from the supply. So if there is a amplification of pulse current, so what happens, it gives us is it gives the voltage fluctuations, it gives the voltage to fluctuate. Okay, so this voltage fluctuations will be affecting the other loads which are connected to the same line. Okay, so suppose if you take in some, this is one of the application in pressing machines, in electric hammers, steel rolling mills, this is the condition, this is the case. Suppose if you take some other applications, what are the applications means, if the large load demand is the major proportion of some loads. Okay, so example, if you take blooming mills. Okay, so the load fluctuations or voltage fluctuations in these blooming mills will affect the stability of the source also, because peak load demand may form a major portion in the source capacity. So the load equalization should be done there. So all these types of load fluctuations due to a large torque or due to a large voltages or due to the large peak demand of the load, somehow load fluctuations are occurring. In order to overcome these load fluctuations, we have to mount a flywheel. So where we have to mount this, a flywheel should be mounted on the motor shaft in the non-reversible drives only. Okay, so there will be some reversible drives and non-reversible drives. So in this non-reversible drives, we have to take a flywheel and we have to mount it onto the shaft of the motor. Okay, so here see, if you see the figure at side, if you see this figure, here in this figure we see that drooping characteristics of speed torque characteristics are there from AC. Okay, so this AC is the drooping characteristics, that means speed torque characteristics is made drooping at the point A and C. Okay, so if you take the closed loop here, the A point, B point, C point, it forms a closed loop. So in this closed loop, if you observe this closed loop, in this closed loop the torque is prevented from exceeding the largest values. Okay, so here the torque is only within the permissible values. In this closed loop the torque will be in permissible values only. Suppose if you take it high loads, at high loads. So what is meant by high load? If load torque is greater than motor torque, then it is high load. So at this condition, what happens? Deceleration occurs. Okay, so if deceleration occurs, this produces large dynamic torque component. What is dynamic torque? J into omega, d omega m by dt is the dynamic torque component. So at high loads, if the load torque is greater than motor torque, if the load torque is greater than the motor torque, deceleration occurs. So this deceleration produces large dynamic torque component, this one, J into d omega m by dt. So here load torque is equal to dynamic torque plus motor torque. Actually, what is the torque equation? Motor torque is equal to dynamic torque plus load torque. But as due to the deceleration, what happens? TL will be greater than T. So TL is equal to T plus dynamic torque. Okay, so this is quite opposite in the acceleration. So in deceleration, motor speed falls. In acceleration, motor speeds increases. Okay, so suppose this is the at high loads, what is the condition? TL will be greater than T. And at light loads, if the second condition is assumed, at light loads, what will become? T will be greater than TL. So at that time T will be equal to dynamic torque plus load torque. Okay, so again in this acceleration, speed is brought back to the original value before next high load period occurs. Okay, so AC curve. See here, this is figure A, AC curve. It gives the variation of torque, motor torque, load torque and speed for a period of load. For a some period of load, what are the variations of speed, torque and motor torque load. Okay, and if you see figure B here, next figure, so it shows the above figure shows the drooping speed speed torque characteristics. Okay, so here peak motor torque is less than large motor torque is less than large motor load torque. So if a motor is having a small maturating motor is taken, so then peak load can be used and peak current is drawn from the motor from the source is can be reduced by a large amounts. Okay, so fluctuations in, so that now what happens, fluctuations in the motor torque will also be reduced and speed will also be get reduced. Okay, so from this observations, what we can say load equation, what is the definition of load equation means, power drawn from the source fluctuates very little. As the power drawn from the source fluctuates very little, this is called as load equalization. Okay, so these fluctuations, load fluctuations can be overcome by mounting a flywheel on the motor shaft, right? So this is applicable only for non-reversible drives, I said before. Okay, so for variable drives and reversible drives, this flywheel cannot be mounted on the motor shaft because it increases the transient time of the drive very largely. Transient time, that means steady state time, transient time, you know. Steady state means PC settling time, transient time means gone, it working time. Okay, so this transient time will be increasing for the drive to a large amounts. Okay, so if a motor, suppose if a motor is fed from a Ward Leonard drive, this is a motor generator set. Ward Leonard drive means you got this model in before classes. This is a motor generator set. Okay, in this the flywheel will be mounted on the shaft of the motor generator set. There is an option for mounting the flywheel on the shaft of the motor generator set. Okay, so this arrangement equalizes load on the source, but this arrangement does not equalizes the load on the motor. Only load on the source will be equalized, not load on the motor. So for this, if you want to rearrange this also, we need a supply of peak load torque. We need a supply of large load torques. So moment of inertia, what is needed by this flywheel, what we have mounted the flywheel has some moment of inertia. So we now calculate the moment of inertia of the flywheel required for load equalization. How much moment of inertia is required for the flywheel for equalizing the load, we will see now. So see here, calculation of moment of inertia of the flywheel. So we are assuming a linear motor speed torque curve. See here in the figure, linear motor speed torque curve, linear curve you are assuming, nothing but AC. Okay, so we are assuming linear motor speed torque curve in the region of drooping characteristics AC. So if you assume, we are getting the equation omega m is equal to omega m naught minus omega mr by Tr into T. Okay, next from this, where the abbreviations in omega m naught, omega mr and Tr, these are on no load speed. Omega m naught is no load speed and omega mr is rated speed and tr is rated torque respectively. Tr is rated torque. Okay, so we are having some slow response due to large inertia. Okay, so large inertia gives slow responses, right? So due to this, we are assuming that there is a electrical equilibrium during transient operation of motor load systems. Okay, electrically they are equilibrium stable, we are taking that assumption. So in the before equation, in the that is in this 15th equation, see here, for this 15th equation, this will be in steady state actually, but it may be applicable to transient operation also. Okay, and we are differentiating this equation 15 and I am multiplying with j both sides, j. Okay, so differentiating means d omega m by dt and multiplying with j. So the LHS becomes j into d omega m by dt, that is equal to j multiplying. So if I am differentiating, how it becomes, this will be constant equal to 0 and this will be omega m naught minus omega minus, so minus minus get cancelled, omega m naught minus omega mr by tr into t becomes dt by dt, d capital T by dt and multiplying with j. So here this can be replaced by tau m. Okay, so here I have to put minus here. 1 minute. So this becomes minus tau m dt by dt. So this is tau m. This is j into omega m naught minus omega mr by tr, where tau m is equal to mechanical time constant of motor. Okay, so this means that it is the time required for the motor speed to change the speed from omega m naught minus omega mr. And here the torque tr means here the change of the time needed for the change of speed from omega m naught to omega mr when that motor torque is maintained at constant tr, constant rated value tr. So when the motor torque is maintained at constant rated value tr, the time required to change the speed from omega m naught to omega mr is called as mechanical time constant of motor. Okay, so from 2 and this 16th equation, 2 and from 2 and 16th equation, second equation, you know that normal torque equation, T is equal to TL plus dynamic torque, J into d omega m by dt. So from 2 equation and 16th equation, I can write from second equation and 16th equation, tau m is equal to dt by dt plus t, right? Tau m is equal to dt by dt plus t is equal to nothing but load torque. Okay, so now I am considering a periodic load torque. It is having two load periods. First one is high one and second one is light load one. Light load period and high load period. Okay, so light load period is, see here, it is a cycle in which it consists one high load period and one light load period. Okay, high load period is termed as T LH and minimum light load period is TLL and duration of both is TL. Okay, so see here. T is equal to high load period plus T minimum. And here also, this is the normal torque. This is the maximum torque. At light loads, we will get, sorry, at At high loads, we will get normal torques, and at light loads, we will take maximum torques. Okay, because load is light, speed is more, torque is more. Okay, so T is equal to TH 1 minus e power minus T by tau m plus T minimum e power minus T by tau m. So for this, what are the limits of T? 0 to TH, high load. Where here T minimum, it is the motor torque at starting torque. T is equal to 0. This is the T minimum torque. Okay, so when the instant heavy load is applied, this is THL. Next, if the motor torque is at the end of heavy load period, means already heavy load period is running and it is about to exit. Okay, so at the time torque will be more, because if you decrease the load, torque will be more. So that torque is termed as maximum torque. So T maximum from this equation will be TLH 1 minus e power minus T by H by tau m plus T minimum TH by T minimum. So at the place of T, you have to put TH just. So solution for this 18th equation, this is the 18th equation. Solution of this 18th equation for light load periods is the limits exist from TH to TH plus TL. Okay, and we are making torque as maximum torque. Okay, initial motor torque is taken as maximum torque. That means T minimum is taken as T maximum. So here T becomes TLL. At light load periods I am taking. TLL same as high load periods. TLL 1 minus e power T dash by tau m plus T maximum into e power minus T dash by tau m. Because at high loads T will be minimum. At low loads T will be maximum. So what are the limits here? High loads 0 to TH. And for light loads 0 to Tx, T dash. Okay. Next, where T dash is termed as T minus TH. We are assuming. So when we are operating in steady state, the torque at the end of the cycle will be same at the beginning of the cycle, right? So hence T dash will be equal to TL, load torque, and T will be equal to T minimum. So if you substitute these two in the before equation 21 equation, you will get T minimum is equal to TLL 1 minus TL by tau m plus T maximum minus TL by tau m. Okay, so from equation 20, before equation, see here I am showing you, this is 20 equation. So from equation 20, tau m is equal to this one, tau m is equal to, we are converting into logs. So tau m is equal to TH by log E TLH minus T minimum by TLH minus T maximum. This is 24th equation. So from 17th and 24th equation, see that 17th equation. This is the 17th equation. Actually, you know that tau m is equal to J omega m naught minus minus omega mr by TR. So from this 17th equation and this 24th equation, both are tau m's. So from this J is equal to J multiplied. In 17th equation, tau is equal to J multiplied J. So from the J we can write tau r by omega m minus omega m naught minus omega mr into same this one in 24th equation. Okay, so from this equation, from this T minimum equation, we can write tau m is equal to TL by log E T maximum minus TLL by T minimum minus TLL. From this 23rd equation, this tau m is from high, this tau m is from low. Okay, this is 26th, and from 17th and 26th equation, 17th equation means this one. This one from 17th equation and again low equation. 26th low equation, low light loads equation. So J, from that you have to write J also. So J is equal to TR by omega m naught minus omega mr TL Before we got TH and now we are getting TL. So high and light. Okay, so for high loads, we can calculate moment of inertia J from this equation, high loads, 25th equation. And for light loads, we can calculate the value of moment of inertia from this 27th equation, light loads. Okay, so we know that J is equal to omega R square. What are the units? Kgs per meter square. Kgs per meter square. So we know that J is equal to omega R square kgs per meter square. So from this we can use the formula of J also. 25th and 27th also it can be used for calculation of J, and this J can also be used where W is the weight of the flywheel in kgs and R is the radius in meter square. So total units becomes kgs per meter square. Okay, so you can be asked a question of calculate the moment of inertia of the flywheels mounted on the shaft. Okay, this is the steady state stability of the motor drive and load equalizations. And next new topic is multi-quadrant operation and speed torque conventions. Okay, so a motor will be operating in multi quadrants. Actually, you are having 4 quadrants: 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 forward and 2 reverse, and 2 motoring and 2 braking. Actually, so what is it? If you want to take the motor speed in some technical forms, you have to follow the rules. First one is, if you want to take the motor speed in forward direction, it will be a positive one. So obviously for a reverse direction it will be negative, right? And if the motor is having only one direction, there is no reverse direction in that, no non-reversible drives. Okay, at that one direction is taken as forward normal speed and kept positive. Okay, and if the motor is in upward motion also, we are taking it as forward direction. So for all the forward directions we have to take positive sign only. And for acceleration, it is also positive rate of change of speed in forward direction. And for deceleration, it is negative rate of change of speed in reverse direction. Okay, so these are the calculations of the motor speed. So according to equation 2, what is that equation 2? Motor torque is equal to load torque plus dynamic torque, J into omega d omega m by dt. This is the second equation. So according to the equation 2, positive torque will be opposite in direction to the motor positive torque. Okay, always there will be opposing. So from this, motor will be operating in 2 modes. What are the 2 modes of the motor? First one is motoring and second one is braking. So in motoring, forward and reverse direction is there, and in braking also there will be forward and reverse directions. Okay, so see here the what are the 4 quadrant operations. See, so we know that what is meant by motoring: converting the electrical energy into mechanical energy. It is called as motoring, right? Okay, so what is motoring? Converting electrical energy into mechanical energy. This is called motoring. And what is braking means? Reverse. Generator. As a generator. Okay, so generator means converting mechanical energy into electrical energy. Right? So motoring means same motoring. Braking means generator. Remember like that. So these are the multi-quadrant operation of drives. See here, first quadrant, second quadrant, third and fourth. X-axis we are taking T, and on Y-axis we are taking speed here. Okay, in the first quadrant, the machine will be forward motoring. In the second quadrant, the machine will be forward braking. Third quadrant, the machine will be reverse motoring. And in fourth quadrant, it is reverse braking, right? Okay. So actually power, what is the power formula? P is equal to speed into torque, right? Remember that power is speed into torque. Okay, so all about this one is positive and down one is negative. So if power is negative, it is reverse. If power is positive, it is forward. So this one is forward, and this one is reverse. And these two are motoring, and these two are even are braking. Okay, so you will see the explanations in each one. Quadrant 1. Suppose if you take the quadrant 1, the developed power is here 0, right? Power is 0. Sorry, positive. The developed power is positive. So this machine, the drive in this quadrant will be a motor which is supplying mechanical energy. So mechanical supplying energy means it is motoring. So that's why motoring. Okay, coming to the second quadrant, here the power is also positive. Okay, so this machine works under braking opposing the motion. Okay, so here this works as a braking opposing the motion. So it is called as, second one is called as forward braking. Okay, next third one is called as reverse motoring, and fourth is reverse braking. These are the multi-quadrant operations of a drive. And in this now, I have to explain. We have to know about one explanation. This is a taken as example, and it is explained. See here, these are the explanations of the quadrants. See here, this is the operation of hoist. So here we can see 4 quadrants. See here, first quadrant, second, third and fourth, same. Okay, so this figure shows the 4 quadrant operation of a motor driving a hoist load. The load is hoist load. Okay, so the load will be 2 types, counterweight and normal weight. So see here, this hoist will be containing of a rope wound on a drum coupled to the motor shaft. Okay, so firstly the hoist consists of a rope which is wound on the drum, and it is coupled to the motor shaft. One end of the rope here, see here, one end of the rope is which is used to transport some material or some man from one level to other level. Okay, one level to other level. So other end of the rope has counterweight. So this is the empty one, which empty cage, this is called as empty cage, which transfers men or some material or something to one place to other place, or to one level to other level. And other end of the rope contains counterweight. Okay, so thus this weight of the counterweight will be greater than weight of the empty cage, right? Empty cage weighs nothing, but counterweights means it is having some weight already previously. Okay, and if the empty cage is fully loaded, then it is, if the empty cage is here fully loaded, then the counterweight is only less weight. This is only more weight. Okay, so if the empty cage is fully loaded, it is